Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Battlefield. This is episode 20. I'm your host, Echo Limits, and we're gonna jump straight into the introductions. So with me today, I have Izzy. Why would things work? You know what? Why would things work? Izzy, you're gonna have to do that one more time. Can you say it now, Izzy?
You hear me now? Okay.
Awesome.
How's it going, guys? My name's Izzy. Welcome to the podcast. If you want to check out my channel, it's youtube.com/IzzyGoneCrazy.
All right. And also with me today, I have Mambo B.
Hi guys, Mambo B checking in. Happy Sunday. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. We're on episode 20 now. Wow. So you can find me on Twitch TV.
And lastly but not least, my boy Flak.
Hey everyone, it's Flakfire. If you want to check out my channel, it's youtube.com/FlakfireGaming and twitch.tv/Flakfire.
Awesome. And as it is customary with a podcast, I'm going to give you guys the rundown of what exactly we're going to be talking about. Each of us selected a topic that's near and dear to our hearts about Battlefield. And that's going to run for the first hour. And then afterwards, we're going to have listener mail followed by live audience questions. People who you see right here if you're watching the video podcast. If you're watching the audio, you probably just listening to the audio, you probably just get us talking, interacting with them. Of course, this is recorded live, so we have little hiccups once in a while. OBS is very funny. Okay, so the topics we got for you guys today. The first one is by Izzy, and it is how important is gun customization in Battlefield? Then we got Mambo, how could Battlefield UI incorporate a leaderboard and platoon match system? Then I have a question from me, which is what improvements to the rent-a-server program would you like to see? And the last one is a Flak with opinions on Frontlines coming to the new to more maps, which are vanilla maps, and upcoming CTE changes. So that being said, these are our topics for this podcast. I'm gonna remind people, if you haven't already done so, you can leave a comment on YouTube if you're watching the recording, or you can leave a comment on our website. We got a website going on as well. But I guess the easiest way to get your comments and thoughts read would be to email us. So email us at the Let's Talk Podcast at gmail.com. That's the email, and I will also remind people at the end of that email. That being said, guys, we're gonna jump right into the topics because, as always, there's something to talk about in Battlefield. All right, so Izzy, let's jump into our first topic. How important is gun customizations, attachments, and camos in Battlefield?
All right, so weapon customization. I think it's pretty important in every game, but more than just camos. Weapon attachments and overall gun customization, optics, barrels, grips, stocks, rails. To me, that's a big part of a game, and it's just not part of Battlefield 1, even though it's been part of every other Battlefield game. So I wanted to talk about, why do you guys think there weren't any weapon attachments in Battlefield 1, and did it negatively or positively impact the game? Personally, I think wasn't the best decision. I would rather be able to put optics I want on my weapons instead of selecting a variant with a pre-attached optic. I would rather just, put one on or take it off if I wanted it or not. I like having that freedom of decision on what I have in my weapons. What do you guys think?
I'll weigh on this first because I have a lot to I have a lot to say.
All right.
I think partially, DICE made that decision based on, what was historically available. Like, if we look at Battlefield 4, there's like everything out there. You got all these different customization options, attachments, etc. And it's because those things all exist, when you look at World War I, like a lot of that stuff was in its infancy. Like you didn't have, the common foot soldier didn't have customizations to their weapon. They were given like, okay, here's your SMLE, good luck with that, and they didn't have a lot of attachments at that time. There just weren't that many available, and we do kind of see that in Battlefield 1 where you're limited on different things, where you've got kind of that optical sight. You've got a scope, and then like a marksman scope, and there's like a palm rest for the sniper rifles, or a grip for some storm variants of things. But like aside from that, there's not all that much they can really pull from without, and some people will say they threw historical accuracy out the window a long time ago, but in the realm of like these things existed, so theoretically they could have done this or that. So I think that's why there aren't so many. And at the same point, I think DICE went the route of doing individual variants of things as their own weapons, playing around with some of the damage curves and that kind of stuff, because there's just not a whole lot they can pull from that era either in terms of things that weren't bolt action weapons. So they have to come up with ways to make some of these variants go a little bit longer than they would otherwise, kind of stretch out the value of them. Now, do I think it negatively impacted Battlefield 1? I think it did in some ways. I think people, really like to take ownership of stuff and customize things, and that's one of the reasons that I've been saying, give me more visual customization. Give me more weapon camos. Give me more unique things. I think there's like a ton of different stuff they could do there to really kind of recreate that feeling in a game where customizing the weapons aren't really, it's not really an option.
They have the whole variant system, but it really is, it seems to me like everyone talks about casualness when it comes to Battlefield. And it seems to me like this was one of those things where they decided to make it more approachable for the people who don't understand customizations. Now, I had really, I'm glad you posed this question, Izzy, because I feel like customization, the way it was done in Battlefield 4, and people look back in Battlefield 4 and 3, and they have this idea of like, oh, it was great. But I'm one of those people who say, like, it was actually terrible. You had so many... Hear me out, Izzy.
Triggered.
You had so many things in Battlefield 4, like the potato grip and the other grip. They're the same stats,
Yeah.
And then you had like minuscule things. It was just there for the sake of being unlockable, convoluted, and it wasn't straightforward to people to make it understand. Now, to me, the perfect point should be somewhere in between that. The one thing I hated about this system is I like statistics, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about gun statistics and stuff. And what I enjoy is like looking at my kills, like, yo, I just got 5,000 kills with this gun and 10,000 with this one, right? It's cool. But the variants are all different tracking kills. Like I have like 10,000 Benet kills, maybe more, but my telescopic only has 1,000. I'm like, it's the same gun, I mean, we're getting into this rabbit hole, which I think that shouldn't have been that way. I would have liked for you to pick the gun and then select the variant. If they want to pre-equip all of the things that you need, like this one gets a bipod plus this kind of scope. That's why it's called this variant, rather than letting you customize and give a bipod and put a sniper scope when you wouldn't normally get that. You know what I mean? I just don't like the fact that that's my biggest gripe about the system they used, is that they track weapon kills for them separately. It's just weird.
I thought one thing they lost to take advantage of a customization was your bayonet. I think historically you attach a bayonet over the front of your barrel, and you could actually pull that out and put that on your muzzle before you bayonet, or you could have different variants of a bayonet. You can have a sawtooth, you could have a bigger sawtooth, a shorter bayonet, a longer bayonet, a spike, like a dual blade bayonet. There's ways that you could customize the bayonet and put it on and take it off as an attachment. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
there's
I think
definitely room for them to have added. Yeah, I know that I don't think anyone would disagree. And when talking historical accuracy, I'm pretty sure the bayonets were all different, right?
Right.
Yeah,
why does it got to come standard already on when you run around with it? Like the one bayonet that I just discussed, it looks stupid on the gun, is that side bayonet on the freaking the sniper rifle, the
Martini Henry.
Yeah, the Martini Henry. I'm like, what is that? Is that a fishing rod, or is this? Are we going, fishing for trout? Or are we gonna go into war? I don't know. That's just my take on the bayonet.
There's like a lot of cool variants of things. There's like a Bowie knife variant of a bayonet.
I saw that tweet. Tweet that you had, Flak.
Well, and that's a different one. That's like a bayonet that was beaten into a pruning hook that they found in the Middle East after World War I. I just thought that looked like a cool melee weapon. But, I'm hopeful here because we're talking about all these different things that, in the next Battlefield game, DICE will really look at that because, I got to look at this from the point of view of, if I was going to make Battlefield 1, like, I wouldn't want premium to be there. And you have to make money some way. You have to, find something that will entice people to not only play the game, but perhaps spend some money down the road. And you look at some of the other games out there that do this very well. CSGO is one of them, and they sell the crap out of, visual skins.
Yeah.
And and it's something that it's like, I really hope in the future if they do, Battlefield without premium, because we're kind of seeing like a test of that with Battlefront. Really like it to be, not pay to win type stuff. Not saying Battlefront 2 is like that, but
I'm
see
surprised.
Things that are really based on, visual customization of things, and just have a whole lot of it, some real personalization options in terms of that. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I can understand what you mean. And I've been playing Battlefield for thousands and thousands of hours, right? And I've been one of those people who never even bought DLC way back in the day. Only expansion packs, because DLCs are different than expansion packs. And this Battlefield is the first time I ever bought battle packs with my real money, and it's all because I wanted a saber. And I really never understood that feeling, but it actually is a legitimate feeling. Like, you want that customization, and even a person like me, I never ever have I bought a battle pack in any game, ever. Never. But Battlefield, I play it so much, I really wanted the saber, and I did the luck game, spent some money, and I got the saber, It's interesting. I think that would work for them, and
if they put some serious time into that in terms of creating things that are appealing and interesting in regards to that, I think there are a few examples in Battlefield 1 right now that are really nice looking, that it's like, oh, I really want that.
The new skins are nice, yep.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to see if they had that kind of stuff, but
I want to make sure we bring back the conversation, though, because the topic really is customizations in Battlefield and how we feel about Battlefield 1, right, Izzy? And what we want to see in the future. So,
I mean, I hope going forward they drop the variant system and bring it back to how it was in other Battlefields, where you had just straight up attachments and you got to customize your weapons how you wanted to. And I know, Echo, you said you don't like having a lot of options there because it gets a little convoluted and confusing for people, but I don't think it's that confusing. My little brother is 11. He plays Battlefield 4 all the time and doesn't have a problem navigating the system and picking what attachments he wants.
But he's your little brother, and if he's anything like you, then he's probably a champ.
I don't think it's too hard. They have descriptions. People can read the descriptions and figure out what it does.
And it kind of makes it more competitive in that regard, too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to play the other thing. The other thing I did not like about Battlefield 4 was I honestly chose the same loadout for every gun. I always put a stubby grip and a silencer and a reflex. Never anything else on any of my guns. What does that really tell you about
I had a ton of different loadouts. I used their loadout system and created a bunch of different ones for different maps and situations.
Really?
Some with heavy barrels, some with suppressors, some with, different grips. Just depending on the map.
How about you guys, Mambo Flak? Did you guys?
I used the PKA 3.4 holographic a lot. I like that zoom in feel of details when I'm shooting it out with somebody, and the ability to zoom in for that firefight. I used the smaller, red dot or coyote sight a lot, but for Battlefield, I'm with Flakfire on this. If you did it in Battlefield 1, you lose a little bit of the historical accuracy. We already know they probably will not go further back in time. They probably will go further forward in time. So, I mean, what else could you go? The Indian, the Revolutionary War. You can go into freaking Civil War. Now, I think they're going to go forward for sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other direction they can go.
They could go space, like
go
1921-43 or whatever. I don't know, but I'm a little bit with Echo on a little bit overkill on the launchers in Battlefield 4, but I like what they've done in Battlefield 1. But yes, they could bring out a lot of knives. They could bring out a lot of handguns. They could add a lot of customization to the character, like throwing bullets over the shoulder, different kind of looks that they could do, backpacks, hats, different sabers, not just one saber. Give us a freaking silver one, give us a gold one, give us a black one, give us, painted ones, stuff like that. You could add to Battlefield 1 for
a wooden
UI,
one.
A wooden one? Wow.
Wooden one. Just whack.
Just one last point on Echo's topic. If there was sort of the illusion of choice where a lot of things, like a lot of attachments and weapons acted the same, they just look different. I don't mind that. Like, that illusion of choice is really powerful. Even if two guns are exactly the same, but they look very different, it gives people the idea that there's more there. And I would way rather have 5 guns that look and sound different, that act the same, than have one gun, because then you have 5 more options.
Well, you could limit that. You could say you can only run potato and vertical on this gun, and you can only run stubby and angle on this one. You could do certain guns to make that different collage of attachments only work on certain guns.
That's the same thing as having variants then.
Yeah, you have variants, but just they only work on certain guns because the length of the barrel or whatnot.
Here's a crazy question. Do you guys think DICE, because right now the most variants a gun has is 3. Do you guys think in the future, I mean, we still have 2 more DLCs and things going on for Battlefield 1, and until the next game comes out too, do you guys think they'll add more variants? Like a 4 variant weapon?
I think, I mean, if there's room for that on the actual weapon itself, I'm sure they can, but it's something that with the variant thing that they're doing, like it's gotta be different than the other things that are available in some way, shape, or form. And if you do 4 variants of something, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot for other weapons down the road that you're going to do. But to play off of Izzy's original question and to answer what you said earlier, I mean, I fully expect whatever the next Battlefield is to, be more modern. So I think we're going to see that full-on customization, put whatever you want, whenever you want it kind of thing, and do that. Whatever the next Battlefield is, I think they'll do that.
All right, interesting. Any last-minute thoughts on Izzy's topic, guys, with customization? I think overall, most of us covered all of it. Yeah, most of us really feel like customization is good. I don't know. There's something to be said. When you have options, like Izzy put it, it's better to have options than not.
Right.
So hopefully DICE does see that people do enjoy it. Because at the very least, the people who don't enjoy customizations, they don't have to use them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And the people who do enjoy the customizations, they actually have it there. So your game is more, feature filled at the very least. So we're gonna jump into the next topic. Awesome. That is Mambo. How could the Battlefield UI incorporate a leaderboard and platoon match system? Go ahead, take it away, Mambo.
Okay. One of the things I felt would have, increased a little interaction with the player base is having a leaderboard that is not third party, right? It seems like the third party websites jump on the bandwagon when it comes out to a game, and then they host everybody's stats and leaderboards. And right now, if you play Battlefield 1, you'll realize that the player base are diehard Battlefield fans right now. Like I played last night, and I played against so many platoons or people carrying a platoon tag, which tells me, okay, why is there not a platoon interface in the game? Okay. Also, if you look at what's left in the game, people that are playing the game, a UI for the leaderboard, I think, is not out of the question. I think it could be done. It brings people back to the game when they could see their stats all within the game, not externally. I don't want to have to go to a companion app to see my stats. I want to see, the companion app should be allowed for customizing your loadouts and your character. I think the leaderboards should be right in the game. Like, oh, okay, I could see I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And if I want to play a platoon match, I can click on this button and it'll bring me to platoons playing it against each other, and rank system as well. Platoons ranked against each other, and that's going to create the competitive battlefield, the direction that DICE seems to be going with the incursions. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Is it doable? I don't know.
I think it's got to happen with incursions. Like, if they want to, make this competitive, that's got to be there as like a first party thing.
Right. We've seen them do in-game leaderboards before. Battlefield 3 had an in-game leaderboard. It was built right into the main menu. You could check your position in the world with XP and kills and everyone else's, all the way down to the newest player.
So we don't have that now. Is that something that's...
No, we haven't had that since Battlefield 3.
Is that something the community doesn't feel is important? I feel it's important.
In Battlefield 4, didn't we have the Battlelog app or whatever it was, where you could see people like in your state even?
Yeah, you could see people in your state. You could see people in your city if you
kind of, but it didn't really work well. Was the issue?
Oh, it worked perfectly for me.
It was super glitchy. They never got it to work right. It would constantly break and had issues.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I really enjoy Battlefield Bad Company 1. And what really pushed me over the edge when I played that game, and why I really loved it, is that game had a leaderboard built into it. And I used to play, and I used to look up at that leaderboard to see who the top people were, to see if I meet them on the battlefield, so I can go knife them and stuff like that. Like, I really loved it. And that brings me back to that whole knifing mechanic. Battlefield has had the greatest knifing mechanic, because when you used to knife someone, it would take their tag, it would tell you exactly when you knifed them, how many times you ever knifed them in the world. It was the coolest thing ever. And I really, if they're gonna build a leaderboard, I wholeheartedly recommend what Mambo says. Put it into the game. People do pay attention to it. It is a fun thing to do. Whether it brings out competitiveness or not, it's just a great addition to the game. Plus, the whole knifing thing, like to be able to see who you knifed. Like, I booted up Bad Company 1 on Xbox One. Like, when they did the whole retroactive so I can play on the 360 game, I booted it up and I went back and I noticed exactly who I knifed, when I knifed them, and everything. It was glorious, man. I could like bring my best friend over my house and be like, yo, you remember when I knifed you? Look, I got you 4 times in 2008, like, come on. It was great. And I would love for them to incorporate leaderboard right into the game. I think it could be done. It's been done before. I don't know why DICE shied away from it.
Yeah. I mean, they're already tracking the stats, so how hard would it be to add it to the game?
Yeah,
it's just a UI improvement.
And I mean, personally, for me, I really don't care about leaderboard stuff. Like, not that I'm not competitive. It's just, like, I don't, I play when I have time to play. I can't really be like, oh, I'm going to get this person or that person or whatever. And for me, a big reason is what somebody mentioned in the chat here, and that's part of the reasons. Like, I used to check the leaderboards for games like Call of Duty and whatever back in the day, and Michael DK2 says leaderboards can easily be hacked. We see it in other games, and that's something. It's really frustrating if you are trying to be competitive and you look at the leaderboard and you've got people who are just blatantly hacking the leaderboard.
Yeah, stat boosters.
Well, they have to
that
have
can only really
somebody
be done on PC, though.
Active.
Console's not going to have that issue.
Yeah, but there's
glitches
and the people exploit things.
Console.
It's gonna be less prevalent, you know what I mean? But there will be that one person who, how did he get this score per minute, or something, and it makes it kind of crappy. I agree that it definitely needs to be looked at. But what's interesting is, I want to go back to your point, because I don't know how this would work and if it would, but the whole platoons versus platoon leaderboard, that seems interesting. Like, what would DICE need to have when they create that?
They just need to go back and look at the Killzone series. The Killzone 2 series had a perfect platoon system. It would be great to incorporate something like that so that clans can go against clans,
So what exactly did the Killzone 2 series have? Because I never played the game.
It had a platoon section, and it ranked you based on how many wins you got, and it gives you rounds to play, not just, it's like a competitive battlefield, where Battlefield's going with rounds, okay, if you win, then your platoon goes up in the platoon ranks. So it's another way to keep players engaged, I think. So it could be done. They just need to do a little bit of homework and then have somebody manage the stat leaderboard. Like Players Unknown Battlegrounds has somebody managing the leaderboards. You can't just put it up and just forget it. Okay, it's good, we're done. You can't. It takes dedicated employees to manage that system. So do they want to spend the resources on it? That's up to DICE, but I think it's worth it if the players are going to stay engaged.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the UI, one of the things I wrote down when we were talking about this, like when you told me the question, is the UI the way it is right now. When you go to multiplayer, you see the operations, then you see quick match, then you see server browser, and then you see custom games. I really think that what they should do is literally replace that custom games with like a community tab. And then when you click into that community tab, what they should have is like the leaderboards should be there. You know what I mean? You should have community missions, like events if they're going to be running any events. You know what I mean? Like right now in the UI, when I was looking at their UI and I was like, well, this doesn't make sense. You can find their battle pack system in like 3 different places in the UI.
Why do you think that is?
Because they make.
I guess. But why is it everywhere where it does need to be? But then again, okay, the argument against that, Flak, is if you go to the soldier tab, in order to find the battle packs, you have to scroll down.
I know what you're saying, and like throughout all this, though, I honestly think Battlefield 1 has like the best UI, and other people might disagree, but looking at games like Battlefield 4, Battlefield 4's Hardline, to me, or Battlefield 4's UI to me was like a mess. So I really like the way that they did it this time, but I do agree that would be a good thing to put there. I'd like to see more integration of community type of stuff on the UI. But yeah, when you're talking about originally getting to the battle packs, it was quite difficult, which I assume is also why they added that on the main screen there. But
I don't mind the whole main screen, you know, like I just feel like, you know, there's things on like on the soldier screen that I just like, why is this there, you know? Like separating vehicle stats and weapon stats, like they have 2 different things. Why not just call it stats and pull them into one? Like, it's bizarre. I mean, just to simplify the UI, because I feel like people go into the soldier tab and they don't even know to scroll. Like, it scrolls. And like,
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out too.
I have a feeling, and one thing I would love for DICE to keep in mind, if we're going to incorporate a leaderboard, don't just put it on the bottom, way hidden somewhere where no one's gonna find it. You know, it's very important that like you introduce these features, and as I think the theme really is here is like, when you have a feature, that's just a plus. Someone doesn't use it, okay, but I think there's...
Well, let's go one step further. Let's say, okay, say they introduce a leaderboard and you make it up the ranks. You know, Rainbow Six has this whole, you know, silver, gold, platinum thing. What about giving soldiers stripes that go up in leaderboards and incorporate that into the game? They're like, oh, look, this soldier's running around with a gold arm sleeve or a band on his arm or something. You could notice that out on the battlefield. Incorporate the leaderboard into your game. Like, oh, this character, and they do it in seasons, a lot like a lot of other games do. Say, oh, this 3-month period, he's rocking a gold freaking armband. That dude is ranked. I'm going to go after him.
Dude, that's an amazing idea. Like right now, Battlefield does not have actual character customization, right? There's no character customization. But if there was, like, say, if Battlefield really wants people to pick up incursions and actually play it and do it, I would say if they're smart, like put in actual character
stars
customization.
On their helmet.
Yeah,
Something.
Put in customization for people who actually play incursions and get high ranked incursions. So when they go to regular Battlefield, they're running around, whatever, everybody notices like, yo, that guy's a captain, like he's a diamond level player. That's awesome.
That's a cool idea too, but more than just like a physical character thing, when you look at the scoreboard, there should be something next to their name. as like that visual indication.
Do you guys remember veteran status?
Yes, I liked that. That was awesome.
Yo, I had like 11 next to mine.
Me too.
I was one proud veteran. Like you'd see on my leaderboard, and it was this cool thing. I think it was Bad Company 2 was the last one that did it.
It was. Well, no, they did it in Battlefield 3, but there was no like visual indicator. But you got like special rewards.
Yes.
Right.
But I really like that visual indicator idea. Like I think the more you can distinguish people on a leaderboard, on a scoreboard, on their character, based upon their loyalty to Battlefield, their
It
dedication,
encourages them to play.
and it's
Right.
just cool.
Like the Red Baron. Okay, if you do it in a 3-month period and you're an ace pilot after so many kills, then you get the ability to unlock the ace pilot skin. And then it resets after 3 months. Don't make it, okay, it's always unlocked. No, you got to work for that. And you unlock it, and then people are going to notice, oh man, this guy, he's active, he's got it unlocked. I don't know, something.
I don't know about taking things away from someone, but I think like maybe if you add it, like Rainbow Six does a good thing. Like every season you get a new charm based upon how well you did. They don't take the charm away from you, but you don't get the new season charm, and you can get the past season charms.
Okay.
I don't know about taking things away from someone, because that can discourage them. Be like, yo, why would I even play for 3 months if I'm gonna get it taken away? You know, and that would make me feel bad too. Like, oh come on, I worked hard for that.
What I like about what you're saying here, and it keeps coming back to this, and I just don't see how Battlefield cannot do this in the future, is like building in that character customization type stuff. Like if they do it for battle packs and things, you know, why wouldn't they tie it into this kind of stuff? Like in my opinion, it's got to happen, especially if they want to take a step away from premium, because by doing this kind of stuff, it puts more focus on you know, your character models, you know, and like how you can differentiate yourself from other people. Like that builds interest further in that kind of customization option. So like, you know, if they did something like that, maybe I'd actually care about leaderboards, you know. That would be really neat.
It makes it to have a reason. Okay, so customization and leaderboards go hand in hand if they're done right. So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, they could definitely help enhance one another. I have an interesting comment in the chat right now. Hazard 2015 says they should add something like Prestige from COD or something like that. Now, the only Battlefield that attempted to add Prestige is Hardline.
Hardline.
And I don't know, how do you guys feel about that, just as Battlefield players? Did you
Honestly, I
it was
liked
called,
it.
what was it called?
I think they should have done it sooner in Hardline though, because like when Hardline launched, I think it hit max rank at like week 2, and I had nothing else to grind for it. And if they had that system, I would have played it more to like continue to rank up.
Yeah,
but
Battlefield
instead,
always does that 10 levels every DLC.
It like 8 months into the game.
I'm still level 150 in Hardline. I did my level 150, but I mean, I'm not against the whole Prestige thing. I think if they had Prestige, I would Prestige my character and try to do more and more levels.
Me too.
I think if you are going to do a Prestige route, it's got to have some kind of reward for doing it, you know. And I think my biggest issue with Call of Duty doing it, like whenever I would play, I would do it like once, and then I'd be like, you know, like there was never a real reason to do it for me. So it's like,
there's no
if you're gonna
bronze,
have me
silver,
do it,
and gold bayonet for doing new levels of Prestige.
yeah, like that would.
It
be
was an
something
icon next to your scoreboard.
Yeah, but it's like that's it, and it's like everybody had one of those. It's like you know, like big deal.
And people
you know,
boosted to get to Prestige level 2, right? I don't know if you guys remember Call
they
of Duty.
they boosted to get to the top Prestige, but it's something. It's like there was still no reason to do it other than, oh, I want to, you know, pretend like I'm playing the game as a noob again, and you know, get a little patch next to my calling card,
Foggy
you know,
was legendary.
whatever. You know, like if they made it something that was, you know, more interesting, more real, I guess, you know, that would be interesting to me. I'd go after that. But the problem is they don't do it. So it's like if they build a system that's designed to you know, put more of that kind of stuff in the game, more personalization, more
Rewards.
customization options.
Right.
You know, like that would be great if they build it from the ground up. That's going to be an integral part. Like I think, you know, community engagement would go up with that. People would respond to that.
That's interesting. Guys, can we wrap up this topic? Any final thoughts on just UI leaderboard?
I hope they add one.
Yeah, in general, I think the consensus really is, and even if you are paying attention to the chat here on live while we record, I think people do want an inbuilt leaderboard. There's no downside to it, really.
Yeah, it's not going to make anybody mad. I mean, it's not going to negatively impact it in any way.
And it is a fun thing to do. So I hope that DICE does consider literally just putting it into the UI, making sure there is a leaderboard there, and like anything to incentivize, like a way to show off your leaderboard status would be pretty awesome. But however, that is a big thing, and it was nicely raised by, I forgot which one of us said that, the whole boosting, there has to be someone checking in on that. You know, like once in a while, like I think you can't automate a computer to check it. You might just have to get a person to be like, I don't really know how this guy got 10,000 scores per minute. He's definitely doing some sort of glitch in the game no one has figured out yet, you know?
Right. So they need somebody managing the.
Yeah, it would definitely spoil the experience of having a leaderboard. But please.
Right. You look at the EA's shooters. We got Battlefield, we got Star Wars, and soon we're going to have Anthem. So EA needs to say, okay, this is direction that we've heard people concerns. Let's go ahead and incorporate leaderboards. We're going to have people hired to manage those leaderboards. So if you're hearing us, leaderboards.
Leaderboards would be awesome. All right, we're going to move on to the next topic, which is one by me. And that topic is, what improvements would you make to the Rent a Server program? And what would you like to see in it? So I wanted to really ask this because I've always been a type of person who rents the server. And this time around, I still can't bring myself to do it. I want to just throw out there a good discussion about like what features should DICE understand that next time you roll out a Rent a Server, these just have to be in there because they're very important. So what do you guys think? What's important when you do rent a server?
Customization options, you know, and they've been adding some of those as we go along, but it's like how many months since launch, you know, did we finally get some of those things? So I think you gotta have customization options, and I think DICE needs to promote those kinds of paid servers over their official ones. You know, I don't know. You could do that in the in the UI. Join, you know, a random official server. Join a random, you know, rent a server, something like that. But it's like, you know, I have been doing some spectator recording, you know, because I did the most recent video on tour and I needed, you know, particular shots from that. I went in there, looked at it, and it's tons of custom servers in there, and like none of them are occupied, you know, in any way, shape, or form. And it's like, do you really think that somebody who goes and actually rents a server is going to go and do that again if it doesn't get used? No. I mean, it depends on what they're going to use it for, like if they're filming something or if they're doing scrimmages or whatever. But, you know, I think a lot of people host servers because, you know, they just think it's fun. It's like, you know, I just want to have my own playground that other people can come and play on. Right. But it's like, you know, they need to have more options and they need to kind of promote them more. Otherwise, you know, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot again. So it's something. It's like I toyed with the idea of doing it, but if it's not going to get used, why would I pay that money?
Yeah, I really think that same thing. My biggest thing that's been drawing me back from buying a server, even though, you know, I stream Battlefield almost every single day on Twitch and hundreds of people come in, it still would be too hard to fill that server up and keep it filled. You know, there needs to be, even on the server browser right now, when you have the server browser, I think you have the browser, then you have your favorites, then you have your recent, and then you have your there's one more thing, but like put the tab up there, community, and
or just rank them higher in the search list.
Yeah, rank them higher in the search list would be great, but like even a tab there, like promote it somehow. Oh, did you guys notice in the UI now they're putting new next to like when you quick match in the czar? And now it's pretty interesting.
There's one that indicates there's a little icon for it being popular now. There's like a little fireball.
Fireball, yeah, lit, So it's like, these interesting little things are going to attract eyes, and that's going to attract some attention. And then, like, if people see that custom servers are filled, I feel like they're going to get in it. I don't know. I would argue that customization on the servers has never been better than now. I mean, we're all console guys. I mean, on PC, you get more, but
it was
now
way better in Battlefield 3. You had way more options.
3? Really?
3, you had the most options of any Battlefield on console.
I don't remember that because I barely played 3 as it is. I didn't really like it.
Yeah, you had way more options as to what you could do and how you could run it.
It's also something.
What options do you like? Here's a checklist, guys. This must be in the game. What are the things that like just straight up has to be for it to be successful?
The ability to kick, ban, and move players at will for the server owner and admins. I think being able to region lock your server if you want to. Custom weapon limitations if you want to have like custom weapons.
Like pistols only or something?
Damage models, custom timers, stuff like that. Let the server owner really customize the game how they want to.
What about if the person searching for servers to join, there's 4 or 5 of the standard options that the players can see before they even join the server that are active. If the custom server turns that off, like say for instance, air vehicles are turned off. I want to know that before I join the server. I don't want to get in the server and be like,
well, that's the thing,
No, what it should do is when you click on it to join like a custom server, it should say, before you join, be like, warning, this is a custom server. These are the rules they have, and have like a list so you can see if that's what you want to play in or not. And
like these are the differences from what a regular server has. Like in this one, damage is doubled. And
didn't they used to do that on Battlefield 4 when you would join a custom server? They had like a load screen, and there was always like a half-naked anime chick in there.
Yeah.
And then
that was a banner. They had a banner, and they let you put one thing.
Text. You could put whatever you wanted.
But you put whatever you wanted, so it would people be like, "Hey, pistols only server, sir." And then people would go in there, and they just they'd still be allowed to use automatic rifles.
USAS 12.
Yeah, and at that point it was like an honor system, and you were hoping that the moderators or the owners were there to ban someone.
Well, no, the issue in Battlefield 4 was that you couldn't kick or ban anybody in game. You had to leave and do it from outside the match.
Yeah,
right. So it just didn't work.
I used to have my mods do it when I was in a game.
Yeah,
kick them.
Yeah,
it was messed up.
Well, and that's something that would be nice to have in there. At the same point, like I kind of like what Echo's saying, where it's like put up a thing on the screen. For me, it's like if you do it in the load screen, great, because that seems like kind of a missed opportunity there.
The load screen. I'm talking about little dots. This is official. This is not, and 5 or 4 little dots that tell you the main differences.
So
and
like,
if you want to.
Say you
a
have
list?
You know how you have them on like the little slots. So but when you click it, you auto join it. So this time it would click and expand on the bottom, and it would show you what things have changed before you press X again to get into the server.
Okay, something like that.
You see what I'm saying? That's an interesting thing there. So you don't have to spend time clicking and wait, then backing out and all that. That's annoying. I really like that idea. Like literally they're little like banners right now, right? When you join a server in a server browser. So you click once and it expands on the bottom to show you what's been changed, if anything has been changed.
This is why I don't join custom servers right now.
Because you have no idea what's happening. I mean, you could actually
you
Mambo,
can go in and look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have to look at server stats or something.
They
it's
need
like
to
another
streamline
button.
it and make it easier.
Yeah. The streamline would be good on there. You know what, guys? I'm gonna talk back about this. I actually enjoyed the whole banner thing. I liked having a custom banner for my own server.
Me too.
I know people abused it, like Flax said, that some people had the naked ladies.
Well, you could report the banner if it was like really broken. But no, the thing is that like
I said anime chick, not naked ladies.
With server names, I would never remember them.
These usually have very little to wear.
I would never remember server names like in Battlefield 4 and 3, but I would remember the banner. So I'd join and be like, hey, I've played here before. I remember that banner.
Could not forget the banner.
If it was good enough. depending on what it was.
All right. You know what though? I think the banners were good. I don't know. Izzy and Mia on the same. I guess there would have to be a moderation to it, and it unfortunately isn't something like you can probably automate. Because I know DICE and EA would hate to pay someone to sit there and be like, which banners are appropriate? You know, like.
Well, it's
sure
something
that's someone's job.
They did abuse those before. There would be like there's like the white power servers, and then have like Nazi everything on the banner. I'm like, what? Why is this allowed? You know.
I think it was for the memes,
if you do
not
have
the reality.
that, give them the option to report it. You know, because then at least it's brought to somebody's attention. You know, we do that for the little customizable things in game. You know, for your I forget what we actually call it, but your little image icon. You can report those, but
those are like avatars or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people have pretty questionable ones there too. And remember when on PC they let them put any picture? Remember that? And then they took it away.
You can actually do that on Xbox now. I don't know if you can do it on PS4.
Wait, you can put any picture as a thing there?
Yeah, on the PC Xbox app or whatever, you're actually able to upload it. So I have my little logo up there now.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Okay.
I could have some fun with that.
That's weird. And then that's the in-game. So when you kill someone, they see your logo thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna put
and
a picture of
you didn't build
Echo's
it
face.
with the emblem builder? No, just a picture.
Yeah, I think it'll just let you put the picture in there now.
That's bizarre. All right.
I like it.
Any closing thoughts, guys, on just what improvements for the Rent-A-Server program? I think it is important to kind of like have it filled and make sure you're promoting it in some sort of way, because ultimately, if it's not being used, you're not going to get return customers at that point. Even though it's such a cool feature, it's what makes Battlefield so unique other than other games. Like, you can't do this in Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Custom games.
Yes, you can. Except it's free in Call of Duty.
But, you know, they don't promote it. You have to just do it with your friends. You can't just start a custom game and get people to join it, can you?
No.
No. See, this is a little bit different.
Oh, no, actually, that's not true. You could in Black Ops 3. They made like a whole custom games list, and you could like browse and join custom games.
Just random people's custom games?
Mm-hmm.
It's still P2P,
really cool.
though. And
Yeah, it's P2P for sure, but at least it's there. That's not a bad thing. And it's being provided for free. That's really cool of them. However, I mean,
it's not really being provided for free. Like, you're
you gotta buy the
providing
game.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, you're the one hosting it, so...
'Tis true.
Yeah.
That is the problem with COD, right? When will they have servers?
Never.
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 Not until they change their game engine.
Mama just hates that game engine.
Yo,
I think that game engine is
running on
as old
sticks
as
and
Mambo
stones
at
back
this
there.
point.
1998, the Tech 2 engine. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, new topic.
Okay, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on. Straight through the topics. Last topic, Flak, your opinions on Frontlines coming up to more maps and upcoming CTE. Please educate us on what's happening in CTE.
Right, so there's a lot of things that they're testing on CTE right now. Some of it, which you guys will be very, very happy to hear. So I want to briefly mention it because I don't know if everybody is aware. They now have a feature where if you spawn on somebody and that person is under fire or killed, it boots you back to the spawn screen.
Thank
so
God.
like you'll start spawning in there and then it's just like some godly hand reaches down and plucks you out of there. Like, no, not yet.
The
You
hand of God.
have to go and try and respawn again. But that's great because, number one, I hate when people, spawn on people who died and you're right in the middle of the reload and you die. And I also hate being the one who spawns on them and expecting not to get shot in the face right away, and it happens. So it's good that they're fixing that. They added another melee weapon on the CTE for PC right now, which is like a weird Fiji melee club. But then the other big thing that we want to talk about, and primarily, what the focus of this topic question is here, is that they are testing Frontlines on Suez, which a lot of people are going to have mixed emotions about because
I
A,
love
it's
Suez.
and B, it's back to kind of a linear way where you just have one objective, which I think is how it should have stayed. I don't like the way that they did that. But the second thing there is talking about the damage model changes. So they have upped the time to kill, or no, dropped the time to kill technically. If you want to look at it that way. It takes you less time to kill someone under the new damage model system. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. So thoughts on those implementations or potential implementations?
I like the changes.
I would say I'm a fan of Frontlines. So how many maps do we have on vanilla Frontlines now? We have Argonne Forest. We have Ballroom Blitz.
Is Amiens added to the front lines?
Amiens was already Amiens and Argonne Forest were the first ones. Ballroom Blitz, and then there's a fourth one.
Yeah, there's another one.
Oh, Monte Grappa, but oh my goodness, man. Monte Grappa.
I love how they're adding front lines onto the vanilla maps.
It is
and more.
unprecedented.
I really like it.
It is cool. I think Suez will work great. I'm a fan of Suez's layout. I really think it's one of the more fun maps that they've built into the game because there's so much destruction. It reminds me of Bad Company 2. Like, it's just nice to see a town that's so destructible.
I really like that it's back to its original linear design. Like, some people hate linear maps. That's fine. Like, a lot of people love to hate Tsaritsyn. It's one of my favorite maps out there. I think it's a great map. It's fun for me to work with in terms of how to properly flank people, which when they went and redid Suez and added 2 capture points in the middle of the map, that kind of really diluted that kind of gameplay, and it really had no personality at that point for me. So I was kind of bummed about that, but I'm excited that now it's going the Frontlines route because it kind of brings me back to how it used to be. And, you know, if you don't like it, nobody forces you to play it, you know, so.
Yeah, well, I know it's an interesting thing that they're bringing things to vanilla, but do you guys think they should bring supply drop to vanilla?
I think they need to stop adding modes to Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like it's kind of diluting things even more. Not that I don't, you know, appreciate that they're trying to do that, but it's like, you know, spend that energy on something else. You know, spend that on the map design. Spend that on, you know, adding new behemoths, or, you know, new weapons, or, you know, more interaction on the maps. Like, I'd much rather see that over a game mode that I'll play for a couple times and then, you know, or play to get a dog tag and then be like, all right, I'm never going to touch this again. Which is unfortunate because, like, War Pigeons is a fun game mode, but not a lot of people play it. And, you know, adding...
War Pigeons is a problem because the pigeon's so easily shot down. So all your hard work goes down the toilet almost immediately.
Agreed. That's why I don't play it.
Yep. All it takes is one guy with a shotgun. Pigeon hunting. Really. That's why they use shotguns to shoot these ducks, guys. Because you don't miss. One of those pellets hits the duck, guys. It's just that easy. And the darn pigeon has, like, no health. Like, can we get him a boost?
Can we get, like, a little Kevlar vest on the poor pigeon?
Can we give the pigeon a little helmet? Jesus, like he gets headshot all the time.
I'm going to inject him with freaking stimulus.
Like, give him morphine before you fly him out, you know? Like... Poor little guy. But I don't know. Just when it comes to them adding Suez, it's great. But Flak, didn't you ask like what other map we wanted to see?
Yeah. I mean, certainly that's something you could weigh in on. What other vanilla map would you like to see added there for that?
Maybe Foul Fortress.
Foul Fortress
could be a good map for that, I think. You know, if they kind of left out that left side of the map. You know, if you're playing operations, you know, you always got that left part of the flank over there. If they made it, you know, more linear, don't hate me, more linear, I think that would be a real fun Frontlines mode where, you know, you had to push them back into the the water or into the fortress, you know, like that kind of stuff. I think that'd be fun.
To me, Frontlines reminds me of like linear gameplay, which reminds me of Rush. And one of the Rush maps I really loved, and it was the map that they showcased first back at TwitchCon last year when I was there. Sinai Desert, MCOMs, like the way that linearity goes, I think would make a great Frontline map.
Yeah.
Because you fight through the little ruins, you know what I mean? Then you go fight through like the two places where they kind of go around each other, so maybe you get dynamics going on there. Then it's
they could just follow the same lanes they have established for Rush.
True. It is weird that they chose like Monte Grappo's layout for Frontlines is so bizarre. It's like a zigzag, and even then Monte Grappo just strikes me as
well.
One
Maybe
of
they
those...
wanted to stop people from just like sniping all the way across.
Maybe. I don't know, because I only play Monte Grappa sometimes, and every time I do, it just seems like such a stalemate going back and forth for Frontlines, because it's too many locations, you know, like too many points. It's already one of the largest Frontlines you can have, and it's just like weird, like, I don't know, Monte Grappa is just one of those maps. It just doesn't work out nicely. I think people think it's so open, so they immediately go like, yo, I'm going to snipe this, right? And then they realize, like, then they hold your team back, and I don't know. It's a tough one. But I think Suez, like, screams Frontlines, and it's probably going to be phenomenal.
Right.
I think there are a lot of people out there who probably feel the same way we do, where we're like, Suez is a linear map. You know, just let it be a linear map.
Yeah, something different.
Right, you could do Frontlines on the Kingdom map as well, the one that's got the different fortresses.
Oh, okay. What is that one called? Empire's Edge.
Right. You could do that. It's
you could do that.
Huge.
That's a pretty big map. What about St. Quentin Scar? I think that would work okay.
Yeah.
Is it linear enough though?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could make it linear though. You could close in the sides.
It's one of my favorite operations maps.
Yep.
You know, and that's kind of
without a doubt.
A linear design in that way. You know, it's also a very large map.
Right.
So something to think about there as well. But let's talk about the time to kill changes, because I know Izzy really likes them. For me, it's too fast.
I'm a fan.
I don't like it.
I mean, I played the CTE. I thought it was great.
Flag, you don't like it? You like that slower time to kill, so you have more chance to respond?
Partially, but it's also, you know, and this is coming from somebody who really liked Hardline. You know, my beef with like anything about games is, you know, when you change a core aspect to a game, is it takes a while to adjust to it. I don't necessarily mind adjusting to it, but it's like, you know, like I'm used to doing this. Why is suddenly this different?
And that's going to run off a player base that you have a certain percentage of your player base and be like, oh, they broke it. I'm done.
Yeah.
So then you just hurt your game even further.
That's my concern with this. That certainly, yeah, there are going to be some hardcore people that like it, you know, and who respond well to that. You're going to have other people who are like, what the hell is going on here? Why am I just dying over and over and over and over?
Let's listen to the people that play with one of these rather than the people that play with a controller, which have no problem killing people easy because they can aim. They don't even have to aim down sight with a mouse. You can freaking shoot from the hip the whole time. Let's add a little more recoil to the game, and then leave the time to kill. Or, you know, I think messing with it this far in its development, we're almost at a year into Battlefield 1, almost 1 year in. And they're going to say, let's change the core mechanic of the game. It killed Uncharted 3. They changed the game so much, everybody's like, oh, I'm done. Okay. Well,
and it's those kinds of core changes that drove me off from The Division, from Destiny.
Star Wars Battlefront 1. 1 week in, they made the time to kill really high. It's like, why did you do that? Now you can't even push on the big maps. I stopped playing
that change.
that. You just lost.
Just
I
like
like it.
throwing it out there. Great change.
Great change. Made the game better.
It's something. If they want to play with time to kill changes, to me, and I would say do it in the next game.
Guys, does that make a game more competitive? Just because you can kill someone faster. Is the game
Yes.
now more competitive or more casual?
I think more competitive.
That's
It's
bizarre.
giving.
I don't know.
I would agree with that to an extent. You know, and
I think
and
it
really,
makes it more campy.
we're
You want to camp because you don't want to die.
that's a
Then
good
you
point.
complain about people camping
But
in
you
a
can
corner
respawn.
because they don't want to die.
You can respawn. I mean, it'd be different if you had one life, but you can respawn as many times as you want. So it's not a big issue.
It's something. I think it's just people's personal opinions on things. I'm there like I will play whatever
Wow,
version of the game
the chat
you give
is
me.
just going off. They're just saying more competitive. Okay, I'm gonna go with the popular belief here. I don't know.
Here's the thing about this is that really when you look at it, like no matter what, and the thing that bothers me about even I get upset about changes to this kind of stuff. It's not like I don't benefit in the same way. It's like it will take me less time to kill people in the game if they drop the time to kill. So it's not like I'm my issue is just like with them changing it. Like why now? Why a year into the game? If they do it, okay, that's fine. I'll get used to it. But I do agree with Izzy on the point where it's like, yeah, you have less time to react to things, and that's fine by me.
See, I kind of
people-
like big
The
meta
people that are
changes.
decent at the game are going to be getting more kills. The people that are not decent at the game are going to be in the respawn screen more. What does that do
Maybe
to
at
your player
first.
base?
They'll adjust, but see, I like big meta changes, a year or two into a game because it keeps things fresh. You get into this, this rhythm. You know exactly what to do. You know what you're using. You know how to play it. And then when they change something big like this, it forces you to adapt a new play style and to learn it all over again. And it keeps
Or-
things fresh.
Or it forces you to leave. And
Or that.
you're going to have that reaction from some
Or
people
that.
who are used to playing things, and they're going to say, I don't want to play this game anymore because I suck. Like, I'm dying so fast. What is going on? Because we know that, as much as we love the Battlefield community, a large percentage of them out there do not keep up with what's happening. And
Yeah,
we'll wind up
that is
playing the
true.
game, skipping whatever notification that DICE puts in there that, hey, the time to kill changed.
Which is nice. I think, remember when they didn't even have that splash screen about recent changes and things like that in the game? Like now they have splash screens. You can find patch notes within the game itself.
Yeah, and that's a credit to them that they've done that. But it's still like
It's a little hidden.
there's still going to be like a large portion of the population who just doesn't care, and they're like, I want to play, and they're going to get upset even though you've thrown the same message in their face like 5 different times about, hey, things are going to be a little bit different.
Right. Well,
and
we
you
got
might have some
CTE.
trouble.
Right.
Well, if people can't take 20 seconds to read what's in their face, I don't feel too sorry for them.
I don't either, but
You're
the point is
heartless,
here that
Izzy.
it's like
Think
it's,
about the noobs. You have I Heart Noobs behind you, Izzy.
that's
think about
that's
the
hanging
noobs.
there out of sarcasm.
If they
Respect.
can't read,
You
what
gotta-
do they do
you
on
gotta-
playing video games?
You got to praise the noob, right? Without the noob, then you don't get the 20 kill streaks.
I don't know. It's a great conversation to have, and it is really interesting. And I think we're gonna have to wait. When do you guys think we're gonna get this update?
I thought we would have had it by now, so I
thought the
don't
same
know if it's like stalled or if they're deciding, let us go back and tweak some things.
I mean, it is just in CTE, so it's not
But it's
confirmed,
been
right?
in
I mean, it
CTE
could
for
not
a
make
while.
Yeah, I'm hoping they're kind of tweaking it, maybe dialing back a little bit. I would like a small increase in time to kill, but I don't know if I want it, as fast as it was in the first iteration that we saw in the CTE. I don't know, but I'm
played
surprised
that
it's not
CTE.
here yet.
I'm surprised it's not here. Probably will be here at the end of the month because that seems to be their patching schedule. I think this whole DLC coming out mid-month kind of messed up their whole patch schedule. So we didn't get a patch at the end of last month because they just said, oh, we just gave you the DLC, right? So we got to wait till the next patch. I doubt they're going to give us a patch between now and next podcast.
Yeah, probably not.
Any final thoughts, guys, on just the upcoming CTE changes? I'm from me personally, I'm gonna have to do the whole wait and see. Let's get more time with it. That's me. Final thoughts.
I love that we have CT, and I love that they're trying to do different things. I really love that, and I don't think people give DICE enough credit for this, and it drives me up the wall when I read comments on YouTube where it's like, DICE doesn't care, they're just in it for the money, they're trying to screw us over, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, they've added, Frontlines to vanilla maps, to 4 of them, and now we're working on number 5 here. We're talking about added value for people who have the base game. They're giving you more things to do. Like, it's your own fault if you don't take part in that and play that. I'm glad that they're doing those kinds of things.
Izzy Mambo, before we move on
I think
to
Flak has a point. People don't give them enough credit. They're definitely working on making the game better. And if they weren't, CTE wouldn't be a thing, and they wouldn't be rolling out updates so far into the game's life cycle. So,
monthly
it's apparent
updates.
they care, and they're trying to make it better.
Yeah, monthly updates, one of the best things that happened to Battlefield as a franchise. Battlefield 1, right? Mambo, anything else to add before we move on?
No, if there is a reduction in TTK, I would have to agree with Flak. Make it minor. Do not make it where it is a shock to the base game, the player base. Make it only noticeable to people that play it a lot.
Interesting. All right, guys.
One more thing.
Sure.
Drop the TTK for every other weapon except for the Hellriegel and Automatico.
There you go.
I think they did exclude the Automatico, right? Didn't they?
No, they gave it a slight buff and the Hellriegel, but it's something. It's like ratio wise to the other weapons, like it kind of amounted to a nerf. But I would have just been like, you know what, these should be not usable anymore. Like, go find a new gun.
Right.
And I say that after saying don't change the game too much.
Yeah, no, but the Hellrigger reigns too much supreme and all that. It's kind of it is an annoyance on the battlefield. All right, guys. All right, so those were our 4 topics. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversations. I think we like to bring something that's important to the battlefield to a discussion, not with just us, with you guys in the chat. We have been looking over to see what you guys think, and hopefully DICE gets ideas to make the game better. That's the aim of the podcast, not to just sit here and whine about things like the rest of the internet does. We like to stay positive. The other thing is of course, you probably have a question that we have not answered, and our segment is over. So we're about to enter your segment just as soon as we do some listener emails. We got 2 that I selected, and we would love to share with you guys and all that. So remember, the way it works, if we did not discuss a topic you're interested in hearing from us, is you can do @crew when I open it up, open up the floor to questions from the live audience, or you can do at one of us specifically if you just want an answer from one of us. That being said, guys, if you're watching the recording, you might not be watching this live. For you to get your question read out here on the podcast, you need to email us, and the email is theletstalkpodcast@gmail.com. You actually, if you're watching the video version, the email is right there in the marquee at the bottom. So first email we got was from Dominic Vogel, and the email reads, I feel like DICE doesn't care about operations anymore. The newest DLC operations are insanely imbalanced, and the ones before them were too, kind of. And from what I know, the way they fixed it was by giving the attacking team more tickets. I really think that's not the way they should really focus on making operations be more playable. Balance isn't the only issue. No operation server browser, no differentiation between 40 and 60 when you click the join any operation. That needs to be all addressed. So this is a question for all of us, guys. And I think we've discussed once before, I mean, we want the server browser for operations. And hopefully it's coming, right? Any thoughts on Dominic's email? The whole 40-60 man operations, you guys get annoyed when you join the wrong one? Because I, for one, do.
I don't think there's to be a separation in the two. It just divides that player base.
Yeah,
it does, but I like
it's something
60.
that it's like it dilutes you know, I understand, you know, people are like, I like the 60 because I like stuff to be insane. I like the 40 because I want it less insane. But it's like, literally, you can't fill a server basically because you've got people trying to go into either 40 or 60.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, but what's the merit? What's the merit of getting those people to get to a 40 to help fill up a 40 when they're just gonna leave because they don't want to stay in a 40? You see what I mean?
I see what you mean, but it's like no matter no matter the way we look at it, like I don't know the last time I played an operations game because every time I try to load into one, I'm put in a room by myself.
See,
So
the way I see
make
it is
a
this.
blend. Do like a 50 and get rid of both the large one and the small one. Do medium,
do
get rid
that.
of the other ones, and there you go. 50.
No, don't put me in with those 40 guys. Listen, the whole join any operation is DICE's way of quick match into operations. Yes or no? Pretty much, right? Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated, but you can quick match into Conquest, and no matter what map you get, you're kind of like, oh, I'm happy here because this is what I wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can quick match into Rush and all that other stuff. Operations is the only one when I quick match into it with joint operations, I sometimes are like, God, I didn't want to be here. And I leave the 40-man operations. I go to 64. Thanks for wasting my time. You know what I mean? I really think there should be a join 40, join 64, just because they're not going to consolidate them.
Just give me the server browser and you can have whatever
This is true.
number you
That would
want.
fix
Just
all
make
of
it
that.
so I can see. Like I would gladly wait in a queue for an operation, but
Me
I don't
too.
get that option. You know, like I would happily wait in a queue for that, so I'd actually be able to play on a populated, you know, operation server. 40, 60 doesn't matter. I just want to play it.
Interesting. How about the whole insanely unbalanced thing? Do you guys agree with him that the Russian DLC is unbalanced?
No.
I think
Operation.
people have really come down hard on Red Tide, and I think they responded to that and made some changes. But you know, I think a lot of it is just people like to complain.
I mean, when I first played it, like my first 3 days, it was so hectic that it was almost impossible to win. But the more I spent time with it, I learned strategies for it, I adapted, and now I'm better at winning. But I will say that Red Tide at the end, at the Tsaritsyn, it's an uphill battle there, man. Especially in the beginning. The first 2 sectors of that one are almost harder than they are harder than the last 2. The one when you're by the church and the one at the end when they kind of split. You can kind of like do some sort of strategy there. But the first 2, man, the strategy is so limited because that right side gets so crazy. I don't know, man. There might be some stuff going on there.
Server browser would fix it all.
Yeah, but like just the issue of the operations being too hard. Like they did fix the French DLC. How did they fix it? I think Verdun Heights is a terrible operations map.
That was really difficult when we played it during the play tests. That was tough.
Right.
But they did work on it after that, you know.
What did they change? When we played it at the Game Changer event, at the Capture event, we played exactly what they gave us.
I thought they made some changes.
Oh, maybe they added
Didn't
the
they
siege
add
gun.
more of the
I think the siege gun is.
elites?
No, they had
add-
elites. They had elites even back then. But the layout of the map, I don't remember changing. It's a very bad layout for operations.
They did change some capture sizes after that. I remember that. They did do that, and that made it easier. So
Yeah.
certainly that's something they could look at for the Red Tide stuff too.
Okay. Capture sizes would make something doable.
Yeah. Or some add a few more trenches that allow you to side flank, so the operation has to split and watch the side flank a little better. You could easily add a trench here or there, and all
That's
of a sudden,
one thing I've never seen them do. Like, I have seen them. Okay, I guess Flack is right. They have changed the cap zones, and they have added more tickets, but they've never actually changed the map.
I mean, not in operations that I'm aware of. I think they did on something. They added more cover to something or something or not. It's very fuzzy in my brain, but it's like we know they're not afraid of actually changing the maps. Like we saw them do that with Suez. You know, they were able to change the capture zone there, and I think add a couple things. You know, it'll say it in the patch notes. You know, a lot of the time, oh, they changed this or they added that. I just don't specifically remember them at this point, but you know, I think it's something that they're going to look at that and say, you know, oh, should we change this? Should we, you know, look at that differently? They're already talking about doing something different with Tsaritsyn, I think. But as far as I know, nothing has really come out of that. But you know, DICE is looking at making changes. So if there's something they can do, you know,
do you guys think there need to be changes to the Russian one? I think I've evolved to the point where I'm gotten better at the Russian DLC ones, and I can actually win the operations now, even on 64 man. I just feel like the first two sectors of Tsaritsyn, to me, need a little bit of adjustment. Anybody else?
I think it's something like anything where it's like, you know, if you'd rather complain than adapt, you're just going to complain. You know, and Echo's figured this out.
People are always going to complain.
Where it's like, yeah, I keep getting my butt kicked. Maybe I should try something else. Like, maybe I should go a different route. Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are annoyed playing Tsaritsyn and Conquest. And it's like, you keep doing the same thing over and over and over.
Well, I like doing the same thing.
That's fine. And I will be there on your flank to exploit that. You know, and that's fine by me. You know, please do something predictable. It makes it easier. But it's like people get upset about it. You know, and it's like, well, I keep trying these tactics over and over and over on this Red Tide operation, and it doesn't work. So I'm going to get mad about it instead of saying, you know, maybe I shouldn't play sniper the entire operation and actually grab something that is better for playing the objective.
But if I don't sit in that bush, who's going to sit there? It might get lonely.
It's going to get cold, and you need to warm it up for the next guy.
If I see somebody in my squad that's sniping up on a hill, I kick them out of my squad right away. Nope, out.
Yeah, I do that sometimes.
Do you remember in Battlefield 4 when you could ghost ride people? Like get into a Jeep, drive, jump out, and it would hit them and kill them?
Oh, yeah.
I would do that to people camping on hills all the time.
Oh, yeah. That
needs to
was
be
funny.
That needs to be brought back. These guys camping up on the hills.
All right, we got next question. Moving on. We got, a question from John Paul Albert says, I know that the characters in ranked Battlefield doesn't have any personality, so maybe they could replace a few of the classes of characters from the campaign, like T.E. Lawrence, Daniel Edwards, Townsend, etc. What are your thoughts? This is talking about incursions. So,
that's kind of cool. Like, it might encourage people to go back and play the campaign. You know, like, that would be really neat if, like, Danny Edwards comes back and... Like, what are some of the other people who were involved with that? Like, they built the character models. The character models exist. Why not reuse them in the game?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, too.
What was Lawrence of Arabia's sidekick, the girl? What was her name?
Zara, I believe.
Zara? Yeah, the main actress that we had to play in Sinai Desert or whatever map?
Yeah.
Yeah. They could bring her back. She's mean.
Yeah, that was cool. That was pretty cool. All right, guys, we're going to now open up the forum to you guys watching live. We have a few minutes to do something I call a chat session. So anything, your thoughts that weren't discussed here on the podcast. Thank you so much for the 2 emails, Dominic and John Paul. We appreciate you guys writing in and giving your thoughts. For the most part, hopefully we answered them correctly and just gave you something to think about. Because the whole operations issue, I think we feel it. You know, I think most people agree that there could be more being done in. And isn't the next update kind of titled Operations or something? What did they have on their calendar, Flak?
Didn't it say like campaign update?
It's something about operations campaign or something. It was like, whoa, I was like, what are they calling this for? And
yeah,
so
I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Yeah, so it seems interesting that they did that. So we might see some stuff, Dominic. Jean-Paul, I think, you know, Incursions is a work in progress, and if they give a little bit more character to it, I think it's going to be better. So if you guys we do have a question from Angry Milk Baby. Do you feel, you know what? When I read a question from someone named Angry Milk Baby, I think it's just gonna be trolly, you know. But this is a legit question, guys. Hold on.
Somebody took his milk away and he's a mad baby.
Do you feel like Scout is OP every match of any game mode? I'm always killed by a Scout. Since the aim assist is easily exploited, it makes all other classes unusable because of how easy the Scout is. I think what you mean, Angry Milk Baby, are the Scout players who are using the carbine or infantry version. There's a lot of aim assist on those.
I think Scout there just needs to be a way to combat the flare gun. That's it. Then it'll be balanced. Because right now they're gonna know where you are, 100% of the time. And there's no way you can combat that.
Isn't there a perk now?
If you're not moving, you're not spotted on the map. Yeah. Inconspicuous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough though.
It's something that, when somebody says something about aim assist and that kind of stuff, like, I look at it, I'm like, you know what, you can use aim assist too. Like, it's in there in the game, like, it's enabled by default unless you turn it off. You're able to, actually use it. I say that I use it, but it's like, so does everybody else that I play against.
Tone it down a little bit.
Like, perhaps it could be toned down if we're talking, the
Console.
the console snap, snap ADS snap. I think that could be turned down a little bit.
Echo, you mentioned that before. Snap to a body part rather than the center mass.
Yeah. They do center mass, and they should be snapping to body part. That was like a video I did in closed alpha to help DICE give my input as a console player. They really didn't implement that one though. I will, however, say I would like to see a aim assist slider in the game.
Like where you can change how much of it you want yourself?
Yes. Because
that's
I'm
interesting.
with you, Flak. I use aim assist slowdown because I play with a regular controller. I'm not, there's no like crazy extended thumbsticks going on. I just use a regular controller. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, Izzy.
This is what I'm comfortable with. Now I will say, Izzy, I will say that with a raised thumbstick, I understand how someone is going to have a little bit of an advantage, right? Because it's a little bit more precise. Now I just don't want to get used to it. I don't know. I tried it once and I was like, oh, this is too crazy. But
it's still something. Sorry, go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is like, aim assist is in the game, sure, but it's like you have to choose from nothing to like this very, very strong aim assist. And as Battlefield series has gone on, they've increased it and increased it and increased it. And it's to the point where I'm like, I got used to Battlefield 4. I think it's too much in Battlefield 1. Can I just Battlefield 4 it? And I don't have that option. And if we had a slider, I could totally find what I'm comfortable with,
That's a cool option there, and it's something that I think wouldn't be the worst thing out there. The thing that's kind of frustrating for me, because I've been playing on PC CTE a lot lately, and they keep changing the aim assist. They keep dialing it back a little bit or making other little slight changes to it, and this runs straight into the TTK issues that I'm talking about. I'm like, literally, my hand-eye coordination over the last year has been focused on, fine-tuning how to work within this system that they provided. And then it's like they go and make a change to it, and then I have to adapt to that. And, tweaking the aim assist is right up there with tweaking, time to kill. And it's like, it's, again, for me, like, it's fine if they want to change that. Like, I'll figure it out, but it's something that it's frustrating when they do that kind of thing. So, hopefully, I guess that with the next Battlefield 1 game, like, maybe it'll be toned down a little bit. That would certainly make people, I think, feel a bit more competitive about things. And, again, I just fall into the category of, like, whatever it is when you publish a game, just leave it like that. So, I don't know.
I don't know. The whole aim assist is a issue for scouts. It's there for everyone. I don't know. It's a tough one.
I actually turn off the rollover assist or whatever when I'm a scout.
Oh yeah. It does not help when you're actually sniping, but when you're using infantry snipers, you know what I mean? The carbine versions and that's when it really helps. Like they can.
Aren't there more snipers, people playing sniper on PC than there is in console anyways? I mean, if you see the majority of streamers and YouTubers that are snipers, they're typically PC guys. And they don't use aim assist. So to say aim assist is a problem, then you got a problem with the whole shooter industry as a whole, in my opinion. But I think Battlefield 1 has less problems with snipers than Battlefield 4 did, but yet a lot of people that only liked Battlefield 4 and didn't like Battlefield 1 say it was because of the snipers. But if you look at Battlefield 4, you would get sniped way more in that from rooftop campers than you would ever in Battlefield 1.
Well, is that because there's more rooftops in Battlefield 4?
Yeah, but you had a lot more optics in Battlefield 4.
Personally, I think it's that, they didn't have those little thumbstick extensions back when Battlefield 4 was around.
Yes, they did.
No, but it's
Listen, nowadays games are coming out and supporting a mouse and keyboard on console.
This is true.
True.
That's something that's really concerning to me over all this other kind of stuff.
Really? Like Epic Games? Really?
I heard it's got
Side note, I like the fact they added that to Fortnite.
You really think so?
It leveled the playing field, because right now if you want to play with mouse and keyboard on console, you have to buy a $150 converter, and it gives people a pretty big advantage. And people do it. So by them adding it to the game, anybody can do it.
Yeah, but why? You know what I mean? Like
to level the playing field.
I think aim assist belongs on console. If you're using a controller, you should have it in
I think it
some
should
way,
be a
shape, or
slider.
form, just because. And I like the slider idea, but that's something that is like, whatever the baseline is, just leave it there. If you want somebody else to have their own changes to, how much of that they want, as long as there's a cutoff, where it's like nobody can get more aim assist than this, then, why wouldn't you offer your player base that option so that, somebody can play it more like how they want to play it. It's the same thing where we go in and customize
FOV, for instance. FOV, increased FOV.
Stick sensitivity, all that other kind of stuff. I think that'd be great to have in there where somebody can choose, hey, I want less than, what the standard is.
True.
Aren't they going to reduce the slider for the screen shake? Isn't that in CTE right now to bring it all the way to 0?
It's already out of CTE, I think.
No, that one is out. I think he's talking about the blur, because when you set down the blur to 0 or something, it actually still was blurry or something. Motion blur. Motion blur wasn't 100% motion blur.
I'm excited they're removing chromatic aberration, and I know Mambo probably is, because he's really hated that on the Russian maps, especially on
That's why your 4K monitor didn't look good on certain maps, because of chromatic aberration.
Oh, did they remove that already or no?
It's in CTE.
It's in CTE right now.
I need to fire up CTE again. I haven't played it in a couple weeks.
Very interesting. We have a couple of questions, and I want to make sure we get to a few before we do end the podcast. We have Bloodhound with At the Crew. So, do you think DICE will ever be able to make a better DLC than In the Name of the Tsar? The amount of weapons, maps, new armies, VOs, and OSTs were incredible. IMO. Can Turning Tides or Apocalypse be better? It's a big DLC.
I think Apocalypse will be better. Partially because I feel like it's gonna be that DLC that it's just like nothing is off the table. Like I think you're gonna see more modern stuff. Like we know DICE isn't afraid to reach into, post-war era type stuff. I think you're gonna see like a lot of things where, like some of the stuff is just so crazy. Like I keep hoping for that underground map. Where they were fighting in caves underneath the lines or a city or whatever, Metro. Yeah. Like that's the kind of stuff that I would really like to see. I would like to see, kind of the crazy over the top stuff. And I think, Apocalypse is going to kind of be that swan song
I hope so.
for Battlefield 1 in that regard. And so I'm expecting like all the good, kind of held on to ideas, things that have kind of really baked for some time that they're going to be like, yes, let's do this. So I'm hopeful for that. On the same point, I really like the maps from They Shall Not Pass a lot more than the ones in the Russian DLC, but that's a personal opinion.
Right.
The soundtrack was definitely better in the Russian DLC, though.
The soundtrack was really good in the Russian DLC. They killed it.
Yeah, I like the map design of the French maps better, but I like the weapons and the vehicles better in the Russian DLC. Can't have everything, right?
Just thinking about the
I wouldn't
Apocalypse
say
DLC.
vehicles. I think the vehicles in Russian DLC are just laughable. You know what I mean? Come on, what? How do you say it?
Putilov Garford.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
I still
That's what I
haven't figured
said.
out if
I
you
mean,
drive
that
it
truck,
backwards
you
or
can't even
forwards.
drive it straight, man.
You got to drive it backwards. That's no big deal.
Yeah, okay. and then the bomber, please. I think the Saint-Chamond, the tank Saint-Chamond, is actually fun to play. Like, you got pigeon hype, when you throw the pigeon out there and it rains down. That's cool. I don't know. That vehicle was great on the French DLC. But yeah, the weapons in Russian DLC are really fun to use and much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is because there were so much of them.
There's more.
So many of them. But yeah, no, I really like those more because they kind of brought some more from like out of left field kind of stuff, like the SMG 0818.
It was a nice surprise.
I really did not expect that, and the Pareto, I really did not expect to see that.
I like playing with the new weapons on the vanilla maps and catch people's surprise. I like that. Like, oh, this makes the game feel different. I just shot you with a Fedorov. Yeah.
Yeah, the Fedorov. Oh man, that's a game changer for medics.
Yep.
Still would really like to see, in the next one though, where I think In the Name of the Tsar kind of whiffed was not adding a new behemoth or elite. So I want to see more of that. And
bring me my cavalry elite.
We have an interesting question. I see the other question that Slick says, but let me get to this one right here. Mahader says, Economics with Battlefront coming out, will DICE slow BF1 progression even more? I don't think so, because there's two different DICE developers working for this. DICE LA is a whole different studio than DICE Stockholm. DICE Stockholm is working on Star Wars Battlefront, and when it comes to additional content, I don't know who's going to be picking that up. Maybe Stockholm still? I don't know.
I think DICE LA is on board doing that.
Didn't they bring on a whole other developer to do the flying in the Battlefront?
Criterion.
Battlefront was
Criterion, right? Yes.
Wasn't it?
Battlefront's a massive game where the amount of content they're pulling in this one, it's gonna be like, for those people who don't think it's gonna be worth the $60, you're gonna be almost crazy, because you're gonna get single player. I'm expecting a lot out of it, because the announcement for it got me excited. The beta, I was actually pleasantly surprised with the beta. I was like, it is casual, and you have to get into the mindset of, I understand this is going to be a casual shooter. If you're going into Star Wars Battlefront 2 and you're thinking, I want a hardcore shooter, I'm sorry, you're going to be disappointed.
Well, and Battlefront has always been that, like, it was always arcadey, like from the beginning of that franchise. Like, that was part of the fun. It was like silly, and was not super competitive. And there's a lot of discussion about the star cards and whatever, and I'm treating it like an arcade game, because that's what it is.
Yep.
So will they slow down? Will they slow down Battlefield 1 release stuff? I don't think so.
No, DICE LA is still going to be in full swing with
I don't think they could
updates.
slow it down anymore.
The reason is because I didn't, in one of their accounting meetings, that they said they're looking forward to 2018 for a new Battlefield, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, we know we're getting one next year.
Yeah,
that's pretty much confirmed at this point.
So they got until E3 and to release all the DLC. Otherwise, it nullifies
No,
Any
they're
DLC
they're not gonna release it before E3. I guarantee we will see DLC released up until like 10 months from now.
Yeah, but the last DLC for this, which is scheduled, which like we said, Apocalypse, is going to be spring of 2018 before
Right.
E3.
Early 2018.
Oh,
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
It has to be because you can't announce a new Battlefield and then come out later and say, "Oh, here's another DLC for our previous Battlefield." It just
They've done that
doesn't.
before.
No, but
They
it
did
wasn't
Community.
full DLC, Izzy. It was like Battlefield 4's afterthought DLC, like community map and what did they call the other one? Dragon Valley was something else, going back way to the
It's
past.
something though. I mean, I'm sure they'll continue to give us something.
I think they
Right.
will give us something post like next announcement to
Yeah.
kind of hold people over. Like, hey, stick around, play some Battlefield. We almost got the new one, and here's some new stuff. But that's an interesting question. I want to go to this. We got Lemonade, pay to win when we were talking about Battlefront, and I heard these kind of rumors, and I was like, pay to win, this kind of sucks. I hope they don't do that. And playing the beta, I can tell you this much: it is not pay to win. People can't confuse this with pay to win because Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4 have all had these shortcuts in the game. It's really pay to skip the grind. And that's totally fine by me. Like right now, if you buy Battlefield 1 and you put in X amount of time, I don't know how long it takes you to get to level 10 to unlock all assault rifles, for instance, you can literally just pay like, I don't know, what is it, $7 or $4 to buy them instead of having to unlock them. That's not pay to win. Pay to win, the realization, and I agree with everyone here, and I think most of us agree, all of us pretty much agree that pay to win is a bad thing. But pay to win is like, what if DICE sold you a shotgun that can shoot, long range and one-shot people, but only sold and didn't let you unlock it through grinding? You see what I mean?
And that's the key. Like, it needs to
That's
be
pay to win.
only available basically through purchase. And with Battlefront 2, it's like you can grind for everything.
You can grind for everything. You can upgrade things. You don't even have to use the battle pack
Well,
system.
that's the same thing that Rockstar does with GTA 5. You could buy shark cards and unlock all the cars and stuff you want, but in the end of the day, the people that do that find out that they're not playing the game because everybody else is grinding to get the things that they want. So then you're just shooting your own self in the foot if you go buy something in your game that you really want to earn, because things obtained too cheaply or esteemed too lightly. If you buy it and everybody else is grinding it, then you don't play the game with them. Then you lose the whole reason why you're playing the game. Right?
I don't have a problem with pay to skip the grind. I think
I don't have a problem with it,
my
but
thing
I think-
with that is I feel like I've met people in this world, like being a streamer, that have a certain amount of money, like because they're adults. Lots of adults play Battlefield, not just kids. There's an incredible amount of adults who play Battlefield. And when you're an adult, your time is limited because you have a job, you have family, you have friends, all this extra stuff. So when you actually do play Battlefield, it might just be 2 hours a week. And, for you to be like...
That's where I'm at,
It's a totally normal thing, and it might just be that thing that like, I would love to unlock the next shotgun, because I heard it was great. And my friends who are playing every day are telling me, man, this thing is fun. But like, I don't want to, do all this. I mean, I got no time. But I have a great job and I have a great paying, whatever. For you to pay like $3-4 to just unlock things, totally fine. And that's where the whole distinction between that Battlefront, me playing the beta, I realized it's not pay to win, guys. It is definitely pay to skip the grind, though.
And honestly, like I've been playing it, I haven't even used star cards. Like I just been, I kind of enjoy that challenge in some ways too.
Learning the mechanics,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's interesting. Guys, let's pick up one last question, and then we will do our sign-offs. So if you do have a question, go with @crew, and you, my dear friend, will have the final question of the day. Until then, we'll just chat with peeps. Do you think they'll go from World War I to World War II? We've answered that one, Dark Linux. I don't think so. You guys think they'll go to World War II?
No. No.
I still want Korea.
Yeah, I want Korea.
I would rather take Korea. Let's go North Korea, guys. Let's just do it.
Like Korea, Battlefield Bad Company 3. a Korean style. Yeah, something with Korea with Battlefield Backup Me3 would be great.
There's an interesting question from Poppin' Buckets. Everybody's going to have a strong opinion about this.
Let's see. Well, Poppin' Lockers, you got the last question of the podcast. Let's go, Flag.
So Poppin' Bucket says, at Crew, do you think they should include more animals in the game?
That's an interesting question. I've never heard that question before.
Camels.
Zebras.
Yeah,
I want to ride a zebra.
I want camel cavalry.
Was that a thing?
Yeah.
How about attack dogs?
Now you're talking Call of Duty.
No?
What about ox? Ox, didn't they drag things with ox?
You might as well put a donkey in then.
Yeah.
Okay, what about a pigeon that you can use to scout with intel? Throw up a pigeon. Fly it like you did in the campaign.
Yo, if you're throwing up pigeons, man, what did you eat?
What? Yeah. What is this? Assassin's Creed with the eagle? You know what I mean?
Assassin's Creed Eagle? Wow, yeah. I mean, we already have pigeon gameplay in the game. It's built in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
That was funny. That single player with the pigeon.
I
was
liked
like,
it.
wait, I'm flying a pigeon now?
Right.
C4 pigeons. Yes, please. It's like the C4 Mav.
Right.
It's-
Yeah.
it's
Fly the
interesting.
pigeon's beak right into someone's forehead.
Yeah.
Can they historically add? I mean, I guess they can add the camels, but anything else historically? Can they add an elephant?
Theoretically, in some areas of the front, yes. I mean, like of the animals that have been discussed so far, like camels were the most commonly used.
Oh yeah. I did mention one of the
aside from horses, you know.
sled dogs, like sleigh of dogs, and you can get people on your sled through the mountains. That'd be cool. Shooting people off a sled going by, like a cat, like 3 or 4 people on a sleigh with dogs
Dude,
pulling.
World War One, man. This is like so steampunk. They didn't know they were being hipsters, but they were hipsters. Like they were just the coolest dudes on their motorcycles, and the sleighs. Like,
Fighting war elephants.
yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
more animals. Other
like
than
in the
that,
movie 300. Yeah.
did they have war
Didn't
cats?
they use cats and dogs in like World War II to send messages?
But how can they use a cat? Because cats don't really listen, man.
Yeah,
They were like,
yeah.
listen, I need you to
can
take
vouch
this
for that.
message. It's important. And the cat's like,
I want a kitty cat
Yeah,
that kills
they did use dogs to some extent. You know, they would use them for identifying, people in no man's land who were still alive. You know, they would go out there, they were trained to grab a hat or an item of clothing and bring it back so they knew someone was alive out there. They'd do that. They would do, laying of telegraph wire, electrical cable, that kind of stuff. But they weren't really used to, like in World War II, they were used in some very rare occasions to try and, blow up tanks and that kind of stuff. But they didn't really do that
really?
in World
Blow
War
up
One.
tanks.
Yes, it was a Russian idea,
Suicide
which I'm sure you
puppies.
can believe.
Wow.
But yeah, it's kind of like, what can you really do with that? And I think camels would be great because it's like you've already got, the lance and the cavalry gameplay in there, but just the novelty of doing it on a camel would make it totally worthwhile for me.
I want a 2-hump camel.
Yep. That'd be
Why
cool.
2 humps specifically? What's wrong with the 1 hump camel?
You can't fit 2 guys on 1 hump.
I don't know. Yo,
Glad to see
ladies and
Mambo
gentlemen.
thought this out so well.
Spent a lot of time thinking about this, Mambo.
I'm going to say that's the end for our podcast this week. Of course, we do these once every 2 weeks, so tune in 2 weeks' time. Gentlemen, tell them where they can find you before I do the final stuff. So, Izzy, tell them where they can find you when you're not live streaming this podcast.
Guys, it's been great. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out my YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/IzzyGoneCrazy.
Awesome. Mambo, tell them where these fine folks can find you.
Yeah, when I'm not streaming, guys, you can check me out on Twitter at Mambo_BEE, and you could always send us an email here at the Let's Talk Podcast at Gmail.
Awesome. Flakfire, tell these fine folks.
You guys can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/FlakFireGaming, and increasingly on Twitch, trying to get up to 1,000 followers now. Yay. Twitch.tv/FlakFire for that.
Awesome. And I was your host, Echo Limits. That's spelled EKOLIMITS. Find me on Twitch and Twitter if you want to just chat. That being said, we are signing off. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys then.
2 weeks.
Set up. All right.